5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, my name is Kinga and today I'm going to be doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 book tag. This is a very short 5-question tag where I pick books that correspond to 5 categories organized by numbers. And without further ado, let's get into the questions. The first category is 5 books I love, and of course I have to mention my favorite book of all time, and that is Damien by Hermann Hesse. This is basically a coming-of-age story about a guy dealing with religious trauma. To put it very simply, it's also beautifully written and full of philosophical discussions about the human condition, and I absolutely loved it. Marked the hell out of it, and I think that it's a very worthwhile read. The next book is Call Me Cassandra by a Cuban author, Marshall Gallup. This is a story about a person assigned male at birth who is convinced that they're the incarnation of Cassandra from Greek mythology. And that was a woman that was cursed by Apollo for not falling in love with him. She could tell the future, but no one would believe her. And the main character here, Rauli, has the same power. He can see the future as well, and he knows that he will die when he'll be 19 in a foreign country during a war. And it's a very heavy book, trigger warnings for sexual assault and depression and a lot of homophobic and transphobic slurs, but it's very worth it. It made me tear up and I had glossy eyes while reading this entire book, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous and breathtaking in all of its terrible glory. The next book will be considerably lighter, and that is The Midnight Girls by Alicia Jasińska. And this is a story about 2 girls who basically are trained by witches called Baba Yagas. It's like Polish folklore because the author has Polish roots, and although she lives in Australia, the Polishness of this book is striking, and I absolutely loved it because it was so fun to read and to pick all the historical references that I knew, because this book was inspired by the 18th century Poland ruled by King Stanisław August Poniatowski. It was so weird to say king instead of król, which is king in Polish, and I could see all the references, and it was so cool. I love history and I love Polish history as well, so this was so much fun. And also there's a sapphic romance and, well, a gay romance as well, and it was so much fun. It was so cool. I loved like the setting, I loved the writing, it was so much fun, and I wish there had been like more parts to it, because the ending is so open that there could be like a whole series made out of it. So I hope that they will be written, because I will gladly read them. I lost my breath. I'll be kind of cheating for the last 2 places that I have, because they're part of a series. But it wasn't mentioned in the rules whether I can choose a series installment or not, so I would just pick my favorite out of those. But I just have to mention these books because they made up my entire personality. And the first has to be Percy Jackson, because I have grown up reading Percy Jackson and I absolutely adore this series. I made so many friendships based on the fact that we read Percy Jackson, and listen, it's Percy. I mean, how can you not love that? And I'm so excited about the Disney Plus adaptation of it, because I'm absolutely sure that it will be great. We don't speak about the movies, but have you seen anyone more Annabeth than Leah and someone more Percy than Walker? Like, this cast is absolutely perfect, so I'm sure that the heart of the series will be there. And if I had to choose my favorite book out of everything that Percy appears in, I think I have to choose the Mark of Athena, just because the relationships and the struggles that the characters go through are so deep in here and so important to their character, and Percy and Annabeth are united, and so many plot points are important. And listen, this book meant everything to me. Even the terrible cliffhanger that we were left in, and I had to wait for the next book to come out. But it just has to be the Mark of Athena, although it was very hard to choose because I truly love these two series. And the last book that I'm choosing here is Magic by N.G. Sage, and it is the first installment in the Septimus Heap series. I'm not sure whether it has another name. I have never heard anyone talking about this book. I feel like I'm like the only person on earth to have read this, and I absolutely adore it. I was about to curse, but maybe I shouldn't. In this book, we follow a family that has 7 sons, but one of them supposedly dies, and instead they take in a girl that happens to be the princess of the kingdom. However, the queen was assassinated, and so the princess is in great danger, and they do adopt the little girl, and we follow as she grows up with this family, very loving one, and we also follow the other characters here, and of course we follow Septimus Heap, but that's who he actually is a little bit of a mystery, so I will leave that to you. And I absolutely recommend the series. I loved it, and I love it still. Septimus is probably my favorite book character ever. I adore him a lot. And to convince you to read it more, once I saw this described on Twitter as Harry Potter had it followed the Weasley family, and listen, there's something in that. J.K. Rowling's transphobic views aside, this has none of that, and it's fun, and it's lovely, so I do recommend that. The second category is for autobi authors, and here I have to mention Rick Riordan again, because I have bought so many of his books. Actually, this entire shelf is dedicated to him, and I have a bit more on the next one, and I will buy more books that he puts out in the Percy Jackson universe, just because I love it, and I do like the way he retells the mythology and creates those adventures and those characters that are so likable. And even though I had a little bit of a break, I'm back in my Percy Jackson mood, so I will. Another author is Aidan Thomas, and I have read The Cemetery Boys and fell in love with this book. It's so much fun, and I haven't read The Sunbird Trials, but they are coming out in Poland in a month or so, even quicker I think, because it's in August, and I'm very excited about that book. So I just know that I will buy his another book and I will enjoy it, because it's such a pleasure to read his writing and his characters, and I'm very excited. Next up is Annie Echno. I have started reading her work this year and I was amazed by it. I fell in love with the writing style and the way she describes reality, and the way that it's kind of harsh in the way she writes it, because life isn't always that beautiful, and I liked the fact that she's very real about it. There's many books translated into English that she has written, however I am waiting for them to be translated into Polish, packed in these very pretty Polish editions, because I am a little bit of a book collector and I do like pretty covers, but when they will come out in matching editions, I will buy these. And the last person on my autobi offer list is Rebecca Kwong. After I read the Poppy World trilogy, I wasn't convinced, because there were some parts that I loved, like the portrayal of colonialism and the impact it had on people. And in general, I loved her characterization and how much power could destroy people and corrupt them. However, I hated the romance and the characters were frustrating sometimes, so I wasn't sure. But then I read Babel, and I'm still absolutely amazed by this book. The ending, I'm devastated by that. The plot twists in this book and the way that Robin's characterization went in was absolutely mind-boggling, and I just can't wait for next work that she will put out. I haven't read Yellowface yet, but I will. However, it's not translated into Polish yet, but I do have an account on Storytel where there's like audiobooks and ebooks in other languages than Polish. So I will read Yellowface and I will buy it when it comes out in Poland. And listen, I'm not sure that I'm prepared for that book because I have also heard raving reviews about that one, and if it's anything like Babel in the way that it encapsulates human's nature, I'm not ready. Third category is 3 favorite genres, and for me it will be literary fiction, fantasy, and if we're counting YA as a genre, which I don't feel inclined to, then YA would be my third most read and most loved genre. However, I feel weird calling YA a genre because there are so many actual genres within the YA category, and YA feels more like the target audience for me. I also don't think that classics really count as a genre because it's also more just a statement books that have impacted the writing world forever. So actually, I think that my third most loved genre would be contemporary because a lot of classics are actually contemporary. For example, Pride and Prejudice. So yeah, probably literary, fantasy, and contemporary. Second to last category is 2 places you read in, and for me that's my bed and public transport. I don't think I need to explain it much. I could spend all day lying in my bed reading my book if I do find one that's interesting enough. And I also read while commuting to university, to work, and back home, so that is a lot of time that I could spend reading. And the last category is 1 book you promise to read soon. And that will be The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, as it is our next pick for the roundtable read. So I really do wonder what will I think about this book because I'm just a tiny bit prejudiced because I have heard so many harsh reviews of that one, and will I hate it or will I actually like it? That's a great question. And these were all of the questions of the tag. I hope that you enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I haven't found the original creator of the tag, but if I do find them, I will link them down below so you could check them out. And that was everything that I had for today's video, and see you in my next one. Bye.